like to call the Wednesday, September 6th meeting of the Common Council to order. It is 6:04, and Councilwoman Konechny, lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Clerk Treasurer Barthune.
Councilwoman Konechny,
Present.
Councilman Frankie,
Present.
Councilwoman Ficus.
Present.
Councilman Vincent.
Here.
Councilman Galloway.
Here.
Councilwoman Cutler.
Present.
Councilman West.
Here.
All present.
Your Honor,
Oh, yes.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'd like to add the memorandum of understanding between the City of LaPorte, Indiana, Board of Public Works, and the 39 North Conservancy District to the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will amend. And Attorney Otis, where will that go?
We will do,
Can I go after number 10?
yes, perfect.
So it'll be number 11?
Yep.
Petitions and comments of citizens, do I have any online?
Nothing yet.
I do have Aurelio. Welcome back. If you could state your name and address for the record.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Aurelio Malgoza, 204 North Street. I would like to start off with the Coca-Cola building at 205 Rumley and what I have seen and heard from the beginning to the end of this process. The mayor came in, you, Mayor, came in, promoting housing opportunities in Jordan Stanfield, how great this would be for the LaPorte. They have a building in Michigan City, in Michigan Avenue, no crime. This will help people, homeless people. We, the people of the community, have found out different. Michigan Avenue is high crime. Many different people can be housed in the facility, homeless, mental ill, drug addiction, and now murderers. After the approval of we found out that the murder that took place in the Housing Opportunities Facility, the man laid there dead for 50 days. He was then dismembered and hacked with a saw, tossed in the garbage cans, in multiple garbage cans. Wow, I can't believe this. If this isn't enough to stop and put a hold on this company moving forward, then what is? Maybe the fact that Housing Opportunities has merged with another company whose policies will be adopted. Do we know anything about this company? How about Jordan Stanfield? Last meeting, he was introduced as a CEO, which he was not. His title now is Chief Housing Officer. So why is he portraying himself to still be the CEO? Why the lies? Why were no questions or concerns answered from the citizens? I don't know. I truly don't know. What I do know is that I have spoken to over 700 households and have signatures of over 500 to pledge $1,000 each. In case something does happen to a member of our community, we will not live in fear. We are willing to sue the city. Everyone here that voted yes will also be named in the suit. I suggest everyone to rethink what has happened in this room and ask if it is worth it. 700 families for 30? The greater good is the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the lawsuit, they have access to sue the city.
Yes.
I'm Attorney Otis, correct?
I'm sorry,
They can sue the city,
who would,
but we will help veterans. We will help low-income people. We will not turn our backs. Over 10,000 people have been served, and we can bring the organizations in from Lake County. We can bring the organizations in from Porter and in LaPorte. And the members of our community do support and said they're appreciative of the city. Ma'am, put your arm down. This is not a question and answer. There's not a question and answer. This is a public city council meeting. So, and we will not turn our backs on those individuals. And we have people sitting in this room right now that have been supportive of not turning their backs on affordable housing, and of the 10,000 people or more that they've served across this county. So I don't want to mix the information with the real facts of what this is about. So we will not turn our backs, period. Richard Horner.
Richard Horner, 410 Allen Street. Last meeting, I felt insulted when people from outside the neighborhood who would bear no risk or sacrifice preached to us about the Christian thing to do. I felt betrayed by the mob and was very sad to see so many of our fellow citizens advocating that another group of citizens are expendable, that their security is of no consequence, their families don't matter. These outsiders go back to their nice, secure, and in many cases affluent neighborhoods with no potential consequences for their advocacy. Why not do this in their neighborhood? You could build new. Transportation vouchers can be given to each, or to reach amenities, and it would provide a much better physical environment. I've always thought that being a leader is kind of like being a doctor. Whatever you do should do no harm. Helping someone should not hurt someone else. The really hard decision before you on this Coca-Cola building then is to go back and find a solution that serves all the parties. A different occupancy, a different facility, a different area, a different grant. There are alternatives. Last meeting, my questions went unanswered. That actually told me what the answers were. One answer was that severe mental illness, as stated in the Housing Opportunities video, has no potential limits. It can include any kind of mental illness as long as there's been no history of violence. How many times have we heard in the news that a violent crime was committed by someone who had no history of violence until they did? That can happen suddenly with severe mental illness, as it did in the Housing Opportunity Unit in Michigan City. Murdering a roommate, leaving his decaying body in the basement for 50 days, then dismembering the rotting corpse is an example. Was this one of your severe mentally ill persons qualified by HO for residency? Jordan did say one day one of his tenants could commit a crime. Did he know they already did? A lot of children in our neighborhood, many of whom, them young girls, walk to school. Do you really want to expose them to these additional risks? As the judge stated last meeting, crime happens when impulse meets opportunity. If something happens to one of these kids, are you going to say you're sorry? Do you honestly think that will suffice? Once the keys are turned over to those in charge, will be free to make residency decisions. And considering the recent merger of Housing Opportunities and possible future mergers, you can't guarantee who that'll be.
It went off.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda? Elks?
Dilks, D-I-L-K-S.
Dilks.
Linda Dilks, 402 East Jefferson Avenue. I support everything the last two people said. I was the director of a low-income medical facility in South Bend, and we also had a medical clinic and the homeless center, so I do know what I'm talking about. I am not against housing people who need housing. What I am against is the type of people that they are going to put in that housing. There was a county home that could have been bought and used for that purpose. It would have had more room. They could have taken the money and built a complete new facility someplace with more room. The Coke plant should have never been put there in the first place because the city says no businesses in residential areas. My concern, along with a lot of other people, is the safety of our neighborhood. I see a police car once a month go down East Jefferson once a month at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's not when the problems are. So I want to know how many policemen are on patrol for the 3 shifts and where they're at, because they're sure not parked at the police station. Why can they not put at least 2 patrol cars in every ward, every shift, to increase the safety of our residents? Because I have no idea where they're at. I hope somebody knows, because we certainly don't know, because they're not where we are. It would deter crime. It makes a lot of sense. I don't know if Mr. Mayor knows where the police are distributed, but I was told, even when I went to the police station to register an alarm, that if I walks outside and somebody assaulted me and there was a policeman inside the station, he couldn't come help me. What's wrong with that picture?
And who spoke to you about that? Who told you that?
The clerk at the desk. So, you know, I didn't feel safe before this, and I certainly am not going to feel safe after this. I've got doorbell cameras. I have put in a security system. I carry mace outside with me to let the dog out at night, because we are not safe now. This is going to increase when you put people who have substance abuse and mental health problems in that facility, and somebody is going to get hurt, and it's probably going to be in that building. If you were putting somebody in there, like the radio station call that the mayor got on sound off with the lady who was disabled and had been since 1999, her husband could not find a job, and they were living in a motel, that's the people who should be on that housing, not the people who have been substance abuse.
Thank you. And you don't think those individuals who you speak about had a mental issue? Because what you're saying is, and I know exactly who you're speaking to, so if they had a mental issue, mental health issue, you would say don't help them.
That's exactly right.
The people that you're walking.
Not there, not in that residential neighborhood.
Okay.
Anybody who's substance abused and anybody who's a alcoholic or somebody who has been using drugs usually do not want to follow the rules for one of those places. They want to be out on the street, and I have dealt with that, and I know about this. The center in South Bend has a metal detector at the front door so that they could not carry forks in to use them as weapons. So where is the safety of that building? Who is going to be watching? Are they going to let somebody in that has no income? 30% of no income is zero. Are they going to kick them back out on the street and make them homeless again? What are the rules? We have not heard about what the rules for them to stay there is. They said there's not going to be somebody there 24 hours a day. That's a mistake, right there. Somebody needs to be there 24 hours a day, make sure that they are not destroying property in their apartments, or they don't have 20 people in there that are not supposed to be there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening.
Any online?
Nope.
Standing committee reports? Councilman Frankie.
Nothing new to report.
Councilman Ficus.
The only thing that I have to report is that Park Board will be meeting Wednesday, September 20th, 4 p.m. at the Park office.
Councilman Vincent.
Nothing to add this evening.
Councilman Galloway.
Last Saturday on the 2nd, the VFW had an All-American Post. First time we've ever had one. Great showing. Glad the mayor came, Jim Pressel. He had a real good time. And the Mayor's Veterans Committee will meet next Monday, 5 o'clock at the Park Department. And next Tuesday, the Police Merit Commission will meet at 2 o'clock at the police station.
Councilwoman Cutler.
The bid board will meet next Monday, September 11th at City Hall, and the UEA will meet Wednesday, September 20th, also at City Hall and at 4 p.m.
Councilwoman West.
Nothing to report tonight.
Councilwoman Konechny.
The Airport Authority. The airport will host 2 more Lunch on the Fly events to round out this year. This is a great time to meet up with other aviation enthusiasts and enjoy a tasty lunch. These events will be held at the airport from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday, September 22nd and Friday, October 27th. A $5 donation would be greatly appreciated to help offset the cost of lunch. The Airport Authority will meet next Wednesday, September 13th at 5:15 at the airport. And the Historic Preservation Commission, the HPC is excited to host a booth at this year's 24th Annual Sunflower Fair on Saturday, September 16th. Be sure to stop by, say hi, learn about what the commission has to offer, and explore their interactive booth. It's sure to be a hit. The next HPC meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 26th at 5:30 in council chambers.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I would like to make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we have a special group.
Real quick, we got to do approval of the, we got
We got the minutes,
everything?
yeah.
Okay, good. Making sure we have it all.
Wednesday's throwing everybody off.
He has a new baby.
We have the opportunity for those citizens in the community that make a difference in other people's life, especially for those family members that are fighting cancer and doing the things that just make a difference. And we have somebody here that if she's not helping somebody 365 days a year, I don't know what she would be doing. And with that, I'd like to bring June Lenig forward. Oh, yes. And it's the American Cancer Society Paint the Town Purple Day. I'm going to let June explain this, and she has some guests with her. So if you don't mind coming forward and explaining exactly what Paint the Town Purple Day is with the proclamation. And thank you for lunch.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank me, I took it in.
I know that there's not a person, I don't think, on this earth that hasn't been touched in some way by either a family member, a friend, a neighbor with this disease. We are making strides. We still have a long way to go, and that's what we're about. We're here for survivors, to make sure you celebrate another birthday. So we encourage you all to join us for our Relay for Life walk on Saturday, September 23rd. Starting at 10 a.m. is our opening ceremony. Our mayor will be there to open the event for us. Starting at 10 a.m. Lost my train of thought. See, 84 years old, it'll get you every time.
It's a 24-hour
Anyway, it's a 24-hour
event
event, and we'll go until 10 o'clock Sunday morning. Some of us will stay all night, and some of us might not. We've done it for many years. We started back in '97 when my first brother was diagnosed with cancer. And our family, there was 11 of us siblings, and of the 11, 9 of them have had cancer. 4 of them have passed away of cancer. There are 6 of us still surviving. 2 of them are currently fighting a rough battle. So bear with me, that's why we relay. And we'd like to encourage everybody to come out and celebrate with us. As a result, today we did paint the town purple,
Thank you for that.
and we thank you for the opportunity to serve the community, and we are there to help anyone in need. We want you to be aware there is a 24-hour number you may call, 1-800-ACS-2345. You will get a person. You will not get a recording. And the majority of them are nurses, doctors, whatever, manning this line. So with that,
You can call if you're a cancer patient, you can call if you're a caregiver, you can call if you need information, and you're going to get the help. It's amazing.
It's a great organization and help, obviously, it's close to me, and I'm appreciative of all that you have done. And with that, I have the City of LaPorte proclamation, whereas the American Cancer Society was established in 1913 and has 100 years of milestones in the fight against cancer, and whereas in 1944, the American Cancer Society prioritized funding cancer research, which to date has funded 46 Nobel laureates and is the largest non-governmental, not-for-profit funder of cancer research. And whereas the American Cancer Society reports that LaPorte County has on average 263 cancer deaths per year, touching the lives of everyone in our community. And whereas the American Cancer Society is active in our community in many ways, helping to provide assistance through the Hotel Partners Program and help with transportation. And whereas the 2023 Relay for Life will be held on Saturday, September 23rd from 10 a.m. to Sunday, September 24th at 10 a.m. to finish the fight against cancer. Now therefore, I, Thomas P. Dermody, Mayor of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, hereby proclaims Thursday, September 7th, 2023, and I do believe this is only Wednesday, the American Cancer Society Paint the Town Purple Day in the City of LaPorte, and furthermore, I urge all citizens of our community to join the American Cancer Society in their efforts to raise funds and celebrate cancer survivorship, because together, we can all make a difference. And I'd ask if you could come forward so I can present this.
And Tom, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce. Becky Novak is our overall event
The
leader.
event lead this year. I'm under her tutelage, and I
Who are
would,
these two youngsters?
I'm Mason Phillips, so you for your oldest grandson. And
I am
take care of
Jessica
her.
Bunting, and I am her youngest granddaughter.
and this is great-grandson number 8.
Oh, wow.
Well, you have helped many from all types that need love, need support, and you're a standard for other community members to follow for those in need. So if you come over here, I'd like to present to June. June
Present it to Becky.
as well.
This could be good.
The tall ones stay in the back.
Hey, you two, come on.
Oh, okay.
So I had to say that so she could come up for a photo, or else she wouldn't have come up. Ladies. Bert, or, okay.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Can we give him a round of applause? Yes, you will. Please. We do have flyers to everybody that would like, so if you want to set them out there. Chief, could you hand these out as people leave?
I thought Kiwanis Telenet, or Kiwanis Park.
I think Tim Warner can help you, Chief, as well, hand those out. Councilwoman Ficus.
Your Honor, I move to read an ordinance for the second and final time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ficus.
An ordinance to vacate a portion of Darrow Street, Warden Street, an alley between Darrow Street and Cook Avenue, and an alley between Warden Street and Darlington Street. End of ordinance.
And if you could explain this briefly?
This is just cleaning up an oversight so that the deed of the property matches what the recorder has in their office.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilman Frankie.
Your Honor, I move to introduce a resolution for the first time, read in its entirety, thanks to our outstanding clerk treasurer.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Council President Frankie.
A resolution adopting a definitive policy and written fiscal plan, whereas Indiana Code Section 36-4-3.3-1D requires that a municipality develop a written fiscal plan and establish a definitive policy by resolution that meets the requirements set forth in Indiana Code Section 34-4-13-3 for an area proposed to be annexed, and whereas the City of LaPorte, Indiana has prepared a fiscal plan for an area to be annexed as a result of a request by at least 51% of the owners of land in territory sought to be annexed, and whereas the written fiscal plan complies with the requirements of Indiana law regarding the provision of capital and non-capital services to the annexation territory and should be adopted by the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana as follows. The written fiscal plan attached hereto and incorporated as Exhibit A is hereby adopted for the annexation territory and the proposed annexation as set forth in Ordinance for Annexation 439 North Annexation Part 1. End of resolution.
Craig Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. So you have previously received a presentation from Dean Rogers from Baker Tilly on the fiscal plan, during which he presented the fiscal plan in its entirety, with the exception of two minor changes in the document, which I'll ask Dean to reflect on. Would like to have Dean give a brief summary of the document, not a complete rundown of the document as before, but just a brief summary and just to highlight the changes that we made to the document since that time. Then I'll turn it over to Dean. I believe he's on the Zoom call with us, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any for me after, and Dean as well, obviously, is available to answer questions.
Dean, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Yes, as Craig mentioned, we've gone through this in its
Dean,
entirety.
could you hold
so
one
I'll
moment?
try
We're
to
gonna
be
increase the
brief
volume.
Can you hear me okay?
How's that, Dean?
Yeah, I can hear fine. Can you hear me okay?
Still low.
All right, let me put my headphones on and see if that sounds better.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Perfect.
We're good. We're good.
Okay, great. I will hit the highlights of the fiscal plan and try not to bore you with all the details that we've covered before, but just in summary, this fiscal plan covers what's generally identified as the 39 North Conservancy District area. It consists of approximately 973 acres and is over 12.5% contiguous. The area, it's estimated that the current population of the area is 176, and that's based on the number of households in the area and the population per household in Center Township for LaPorte County. And at the January 1st, 22 assessment date, there was assessed value of $30,631,075. As the Indiana Code requires, we have gone through and discussed all of the non-capital and capital services that will be provided to the area, and I'll touch on kind of the summary of cost for each of those that is attached as an appendix to the fiscal plan. So let me just touch on that now. In fact, so for street maintenance, there will be some additional cost for materials, supplies, repairs, and additional employee. Similar cost for the police department for fuel, vehicle maintenance, 3 additional officers to provide adequate service with some shifting around of how that service is provided and make sure that we have an additional officer on each shift. As required, you will be responsible for a portion of any outstanding debt for Center Township, and Center Township does have some debt outstanding, so we've identified what that cost will be over the 4-year period following the effective date of annexation, and then we've also identified some street lighting cost. In total, for your non-capital cost and the debt cost, we've identified cost of $82,000 approximately in 2024 growing to about 425,000 in 2025, and then essentially growing by an inflation factor in the 2 years following that. In addition to that, there are some capital costs, which include the paving of Kuchar Drive and some utility extension cost. In sum, we're anticipating an estimated levy increase of approximately 307,000 as a result of this annexation, which would grow by the annual growth quotient each year. In addition, there are various other revenue sources that are expected to grow, such as the local income tax certified shares, and the public safety and economic development portions of your local income tax, and also the CCD levy would increase. With those increased revenues, we're anticipating in 2025, once those revenues kick in, a slight negative impact of about $23,000. And then a larger negative impact in 2026, but that's due to a one-time capital expenditure associated with the paving of Kuchar Drive. And then in 2027 and beyond, we would expect the net cash flows to be positive of about $14,000 in 2027, and we would expect that trend to continue going forward. Let me see if there's... Craig referenced a couple of revisions that have been made. The one that comes to mind for me is under the in the capital section of the fiscal plan, under street construction. I mentioned that we've identified the cost of the need to pave Kuchar Drive at approximately $320,000. In the initial draft that was previously discussed, we had failed to identify how that would be paid for, which is required in the fiscal plan. So we've added some language to indicate that funds from either the Motor Vehicle Highway Fund, the local Road and Street Fund would be used and would potentially be supplemented from any available grant funding, because as we know, a lot of communities are able to apply for and receive community crossings grants to help with paving. So we wanted to include that in as an option as well.
Thank you, Dean.
Sure, yeah, I'll pause there and happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
I mean, this is the same fiscal plan we've heard several times in public. Are there questions for Dean?
Dean, Craig, whoever can answer this, the second one, the other variation from the original fiscal plan, does that come to the top of your mind that you can share with us?
Yeah. I believe it's all in that section. It was just several modifications to the text in that section pertaining to the capital improvements for street improvements. I believe that was the majority of that, so.
Yeah.
And I believe also, just for your perspective, the memorandum of understanding, as you know, has been signed by 39 North, the county, Shaw Friedman, the attorney for 39 North, and Bert Cook have been working together with economic development. And Bert, without details, if you could come up and share the opportunities that have already presented itself based on these businesses and developers confirming the city will be in charge of the water.
Yeah, good evening, Council. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. You know, as the mayor said, there are numerous projects in the 39 North area that I think would like to move forward. The barrier to this point has been the water issue, specifically fire suppression. So I appreciate Matt Reardon, who is the county economic development representative for that area. We've worked hand in hand to make sure that we're positioning all of our communities to take advantage of those opportunities, and the actions that you take tonight and as we move forward towards the end of the year, I think will put us in a place to be able to help those companies, you know, construct in our community, create jobs, and really invest in all of the city of LaPorte and LaPorte County as well.
Questions? Thank you, Bert. So this is a resolution. At this point, I'd like to give anybody from the public that would like to speak up, stand forward, state your name and address, and share your thoughts on this resolution. Anybody from the city or here at the meeting I don't know if we have any public comment.
There's one public comment from Dusty Schoaf. If you wouldn't have spent so much money, you wouldn't need to annex, right?
Pardon me?
That's the question.
If,
If the city wouldn't have spent so much money, the city wouldn't need to annex, right?
so, I mean, just to address the budget, we lose based on property tax caps. And again, these are good things for residents. 30% of our revenues come right off the top. 30%.
In the form of a credit.
In the form of a credit to homeowners, which is a good thing for homeowners. It's something I supported in the legislature and is good for homeowners. But many businesses couldn't survive a 30% reduction in revenue without cutting services. We have not cut one service across the board since this administration has taken over. In fact, we are going to have the first structurally balanced budget across all funds, and nobody can tell us when the last time that's ever happened. Ever happened. Structurally balanced across all funds with this. So I'm not sure spending, but we have to be as efficient as possible, and anybody that would like to discuss the budget, we can walk through it together, ask any questions. Courtney Parthune has been amazing through this process, and we're still working. But, so I'm not sure what that question on it, but we would be glad, again, some budget 101s with Dusty, and if he's available to come in the city, we'd love to see that happen. So nobody else from the public?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion, council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman Konechny.
Your Honor, I'd like to present an ordinance read for the second time by title only.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Konechny.
An ordinance of the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, annexing to and bringing within the city limits of LaPorte, Indiana, and amending the zoning ordinance for property located in Center Township, contiguous herewithin. Name of petition, 39 North Annexation, Part 1. End of ordinance.
Discussion? Attorney Otis?
Yes, this obviously has been a long process, and this is the final action that the council needs to take to finalize the annexation of the first part, Phase 1 of 39 North. I believe, speaking with Craig Phillips today, but this is about 2/3 of 39 North to 75%, depending on how you look at it exactly. Phase 2 will be take just as long to get through it, but not as many parcels or property that will be part of that. So, and again, part of the reason that we couldn't do it all at once was the contiguity issue of how 39 North touches the city limits. So, anything else, Mayor?
No, I don't know if you have anything to add, Planner Phillips?
Yes. So I have a map on the wall over here if anybody's curious about the boundaries. I think we're all pretty familiar with them at this point. We've held several public meetings as part of the statutory requirements. In terms of the process, if the council votes to approve the ordinance this evening, it'll be published. We'll be sending it for publication tomorrow, it's my understanding, through conversation with the clerk treasurer and then Herald Dispatch, that we anticipate that upon passage being published on Saturday, which would make the effective date, if I'm not mistaken, of the annexation on December 10th, if I calculated that correctly, 90 days from the date of publication. This is the last step in the process. There's a 90-day remonstrance period. We do not anticipate any successful remonstrance, given the fact that we had a substantial percentage of those involved in the annexation as those who are signed onto the petition. But that's that required statutory wait period, if you will, for remonstrance. It becomes effective after that date. And then we will begin the process of the second phase, which lies to the north of the toll road. And that, depending on how those boundaries finally fall out, it will be anywhere between 33 and 40 parcels involved in that phase. as compared to about 172, I think it's 172 parcels in this phase. So it's substantially smaller, but we have to follow the exact same process. And happy to answer any other questions you have at this time.
Council questions? Okay, this is an ordinance, so it'll be back for second reading September.
This is our second.
This is the
Oh,
second.
I'm sorry, this is, it's been a long day, I apologize.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance adopting the name of the petition, 39 North annexation.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. I just want to say thank you for all of your interest and focus since 2001, when this all began publicly at the HFL building and at our meeting there. So, further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we have
Your Honor, I'd like
memorandum of understanding with Council President Frankie.
I'd like to introduce a memorandum of understanding read by title only for the first and only time, and will allow Attorney Nick Otis to explain after the title.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Attorney Otis.
Should read the title first.
Read the title.
Title.
Memorandum of Understanding between the City of LaPorte, Indiana Board of Public Works and the 39 North Conservancy District. End of title.
Attorney Otis.
So this is obviously a long time coming. 39 North was created around 1997 as a conservancy district and has served that area very well for the last 27 years. It has gotten to the point where, as Mr. Cook alluded to, there are some large projects in 39 North that the current 39 North system is not capable of handling. For 39 North to allow those, to make those projects happen, they would effectively have to bond or borrow money, and there's only about 150 property owners out there. And so you're talking about a $10 million project that would have to be funded by a very small group of individuals. The benefit of having, and Tim Warner could explain this, of having 8,000 customers in the city is you can spread that cost over a significantly larger portion of people. And so 39 North did an excellent job of developing their system, and as a result of that, the city is going to compensate them in the form of $2 million in utility tax credits, or utility, not taxes, utility credits. And so that will show up on property owners' bills until that $2 million is paid off. In exchange, the city will get the assets of 39 North, which includes a substantial utility network, and the city will get $500,000 in cash on hand from 39 North that the city will put into upgrading the system. The city agrees that it's going to improve the system with the necessary upgrades to support the future development of 39 North. Additionally, the Board of Directors at 39 North agreed to sign their annexation waivers as well. There's 5 board members, and the city agrees to begin these upgrades within the first 3 years, though we want to make it happen as soon as possible. However, since COVID, it's been difficult to make these things happen quickly. Sometimes ordering the necessary parts can take up to a year. So it's a long process. So I think, again, it's a great, what 39 North did for the last 27 years has been great. To take it to the next level, I think they realized they didn't want to put that burden on 155 property owners, and the city will take it to that next step with this purchase agreement. Anything else, Mayor?
I just would like to thank the 39 North Conservancy Board for their work, for their efforts, and it's been a long negotiation, but Mark Childress leading the charge, Attorney Friedman, and the rest of the board, we're very thankful to partner with them and address these issues and move forward here as a part of the city. And, thank you to 39 North for their work.
So just real quick, this is just a memorandum of understanding. There'll be a very thorough, long purchase agreement that the city and 39 North will engage in. And that'll come back before the city council. I don't know the exact timeline, hopefully before the end of the year, but you have easements, you have the way the utilities are, there's just a lot of complicating factors to that, so.
And Board of Works did approve the memorandum of understanding. I think we need a motion from the council to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
Yeah, the other thing I'll comment on, you mentioned, Mayor, that started in 2021, but really it started with the council members that initiated the ordinance that required you to be within city limits to get utilities. And I think, to Mr. Galloway, Ms. Ficus, and Ms. Cutler were on the board, I believe, at that time. That obviously provided you with the ability to negotiate with 39 North in a better position there.
Absolutely. And thank you, because this job is not easy. You've made difficult votes, and certainly the city of LaPorte appreciates it, so. So do I have a motion?
You do.
I have one and a second.
You do.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilwoman Butler.
Your Honor, I move to introduce an ordinance read for the first time in its entirety.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Cutler.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 25-2022 to amend salaries in the fire department and to add an information technology department. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that Section 1, Ordinance Number 25-2022 of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, adopted by the Common Council on October 17, 2023, is hereby amended to add the following positions: Fire Department, Project Swaddle Franciscan Grant from Restricted Fund Fire Department Personnel, $35 per hour, 8-hour minimum shift. Department of Information Technology, Information Technology Director, $75,000 annually. Section 3, in all other regards, ordinance number 25-2022 shall be unchanged. Section 4, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its passage, approval by the mayor, and publication as required by law. End of ordinance.
Discussion?
I just have a question. Should it be October 17th, 2022?
I had that question too, because it says,
Should.
I think that
My
date's wrong.
apologies. I'll amend it for next time.
I should have called you. Sorry.
I got 2022.
Further questions, discussion?
I think it's a great thing to bring IT in-house.
So as you see, we're going to discuss information technology director, finally, in-house every day, so we can move off third-party contracts and have somebody right here. And we're excited. May I share?
That's an answer.
I think we're okay to share that Roscoe Hoffman, who is the IT director at the county, will be moving to the city of LaPorte and starting here on September 25th, full-time. I see the smiles by the police department who deal with Roscoe and the fire department at the county and are excited to have Roscoe here on an everyday basis. And, you know, we're hiring quality people, and that will help us move forward. And Roscoe is definitely that, and the county is sad to see him go. But they understand it's an opportunity for him, and we'll be ready full-time.
Question.
Councilman Galloway.
Can we afford them?
Yes, and that's where I talk about, from the budget perspective, this year, saving money, not spending every last penny that we have. And I don't know if you want to explain.
Yeah, so we have the rest of the year to pay, so that you'll see in the additional appropriation in the next,
For
the next agenda
the
items.
outsourcing, right?
But everybody will be, his role will be to lessen the contract with our third-party managed services, and every department will use a piece of him, so every department will pay for him.
Oh, good. We need somebody.
Yeah.
And Chief Breton, if you don't mind, or Chief Snyder, just briefly come forward, both of you, if you'd like, and just state the importance of what Roscoe Hoffman has been for the police and fire and public safety.
I kind of feel bad because we've been using him for the last several years, and we still call him all the time. He is, I can't say enough good about him. He works with our guys. It's a huge loss for the county, actually, but very happy to have Roscoe here. I think everybody will be, I think every department's going to be very pleased, us especially. I think we probably have 75% of the computers in the city, and between the cars and in the office, and he keeps that going now, I can only imagine.
Chief Snyder?
Yeah, Roscoe is amazing. Deal with him on a level with the 911 center. Again, with all emergency services, that's where he actually falls under that jurisdiction for the county. And any problem that we would have, even as a non-county entity, we call him about it, he's right on it. And if he doesn't know how to do it, he finds it out within a matter of a short period of time, something that we don't have a luxury of right now. So we're excited to bring him on board.
Chief Snyder, also, since you're here, the Operation Grant Project Swaddle?
Yes, Project Swaddle. We are close to a contract agreement with Franciscan about Project Swaddle. I may have spoke about this before. I'm not sure in front of the council. I know I have in front of the Board of Public Works. But this is a paramedicine program that we've entered into with Franciscan Crown Point, who has secured grant funds to operate this. And this is where our personnel will be the boots on the ground. They will go out to two pre-birth visits with a in-need mother, and then two post-birth visits, as well as do a size-up of the house for safety factors. Many other things will enter into it. So the part that is in front of you in this ordinance is how our firefighters will be paid. Part of that was whether they would become Franciscan employees, which would create another whole set of issues, or whether Franciscan just took the grant funds, put them into the fund in the city, and then the city would distribute that as if it were a payroll type issue. So they do this off-duty. It's not going to compromise our response by on-duty personnel. And we currently have 7 members that are part of the team, and they're excited to get started. It's been a long time coming, and this is just one of the final steps that need to be put into place. There's a couple more little things that Jim Kaminsky's working on with us, and we hope to have that done within the next couple weeks. And by the time you would be in front of you to approve this for the final reading.
But the other part of that, in more progressive communities, they have a paramedicine program. So these individuals or frequent flyers that are in and out of the hospital can be checked at home, not have to go back and forth and put them in danger, and you've seen that in many communities.
Most definitely, yeah. This is, our ultimate goal was to get into a full paramedicine program. Unfortunately, we attempted with a grant, didn't work, but this at least gets us started, and the grant funding was already secured by Franciscan, so we sure didn't want to turn down an opportunity to get started, and we'll still continue to look to build on this and get into a full program like the mayor says.
Questions? Thank you. Motion to approve?
Well, gotta bring it back.
Oh, I'm sorry, that will also be, the date being September
18th.
18th?
Yeah.
That's a Monday.
Yeah. We'll be better by then.
All right, we'll move forward there. Councilwoman West.
Your Honor, I move to introduce a resolution read for the first and only time in its entirety.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilwoman West.
Additional appropriation for seated fund. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was appropriated in the annual budget. Now therefore, Section 1, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, LaPorte County, Indiana, that for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the fund named and for the purposes specified, subject to the laws governing the same. Seated 2209-465-312.
Next one.
.000 IT services, amount requested was $25,000 and amount approved is 25,000. Seat at 2209-015-111.000, salaries, the amount requested was 17,500, and also that amount was approved at 17,500. Seat at 2209-015-391.000, other services, amount requested 15,000, amount approved is 15,000. End of resolution.
So I would like to, before I open up for a public hearing, this has been advertised.
On August 17th, 2023, in the LaPorte County Herald Dispatch.
Members of the public, would there be any members of the public that would like to speak on this appropriation? Anybody from the public? Hearing none, I will now close the public hearing. Do I have a motion for this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Councilman Galloway.
Your Honor, I'd like to read a resolution in its entirety.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Galloway.
Resolution to transfer funds within the 2023 budgets. Whereas there are additional monies needed in certain line items in 2023 budgets in order to pay for essential services and obligations. Now therefore be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of LaPorte, Indiana, that the following transfers be made within the following budgets for the year 2023. Local road and streets, 2202 to 524, from 391 other services to 290 repairs and maintenance, $20,000. Redevelopment, TIF 1, 4445-701, from 421 infrastructure to 381 debt service, 2020 bond payment, $80,000. That's it.
So these two,
Normal transfer, and then an RDC transfer that was already approved at the last RDC meeting.
this is a resolution. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Before we adjourn, as we've discussed the budget, September 12th, we will have a council budget hearing where we'll make the initial presentation.
Budget workshop.
The workshop. So before we bring it in front of the council officially, it will be September 12th at 1:30. It will be open to the public, and, but this will be for council members to walk through and hear about the budget. Any other statements, comments from council?
Roger.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Have a great night, everybody.